All right, Sam, we got another trade in the NFL. Brian Robinson being traded from the Washington Commanders to the San Francisco 49ers. There were a lot of rumors about Brian Robinson getting traded. Of all the teams, I know the Niners, they're banged up, all of their skill positions, really, receiver and running back. I was a little surprised, though, as far as the fit with Kyle Shanahan. They have Christian McCaffrey coming back off of his injuries, but what are your thoughts on the fit for Brian Robinson going to add some depth to that running back room?
Well, usually at this point, when guys are getting traded, you're like, what does it mean? Nothing. It's pretty inconsequential for both teams. You know, guys are getting traded for late round pick swaps because effectively they're going to get cut anyway, right? This is one where actually I think it has a chance to be consequential for a couple of reasons. Number one, San Francisco's backfield is always chaos under Kyle Shanahan, so there's every chance in the world that Brian Robinson could actually be a real player for them. Number two, they gave up a 6th-round pick, not a pick swap, but an actual 6th-round pick to make it happen. That shows a little bit of consequence to it. It's not just a late-round pick swap for a guy that was going to get cut anyway. It's a late-round pick, an additional pick from Washington's perspective.
With the Commanders paying down some of Robinson's salary, so they're paying for the 6, but the Niners, it's a big enough investment.
And while we know that Christian McCaffrey is the number one guy in that backfield and will be as long as he's there, we also know that he's got a history now of weird injuries cropping up, taking longer than they were supposed to, taking him out of the game, taking him off the team for extended periods of time. And that backfield is now a couple of rookies. It's kind of chaotic. Like Brian Robinson could be a real feature player for them if they have to lean on him.
And then Robinson as a fit, I mean, end of the season last year, it did seem like Washington soured on him generally. Yeah. He did finish with 10 touchdowns. He did have his moments in and around the goal line, finishing runs, but I think toward the end of the year was not creating as much on his own. Washington, more of a space-creating type of spread type of offense where he's not necessarily the best fit for that.
I mean, that's the thing, make very reductively, right? You zone teams, you've got man, gap, run blocking type teams. Brian Robinson is a much better fit for a gap type of scheme, a power runner, teams that like to pull offensive linemen, et cetera, et cetera. Neither of these teams are really in that bucket,
right?
Albeit, the 49ers are not the sort of classic zone-only team that they started off being, and Shanahan used to be. Like, he has evolved and incorporated more from this bucket into his offense. But it is interesting that it makes sense why this team would sour on him, but he's then being traded to another team that kind of belongs in this bucket as well.
But he does bring a different change of pace type of back. So assuming McCaffrey's healthy.
The pace being slower in this case.
The pace is slower, but it's a little more physical, 230 pounds,
right,
and more downhill. He's not going to do a ton as far as the pass game goes. But again, remember when McCaffrey in 2023, when he was over there, as an MVP candidate, they had no problem with him running in and around the goal line. They had no problem, running him and playing him, 90% of the snaps. I don't think they want to do that. So it does give Shanahan a slightly different style and a different look, in addition to Isaac Guerrero and all of his speed being banged up and other injuries that they've had in the running back room. So that'll be the interesting thing, is not only how to use Robinson, who is a completely different style than McCaffrey, but do you start to incorporate some more of those downhill type of runs where he excels a little bit more than, say, some others?
I mean, that's the real signal in this, I think, is just how banged up the 49ers backfield is across the board. It's kind of like the Vikings suddenly sniffing around veteran wide receivers. It's like the signal there is that everybody's hurt or unavailable for a while, and suddenly, you're in the market maybe for an Adam Thielen reunion. This feels like the same kind of thing, where it's like, in an ideal world, Brian Robinson doesn't feature much for this team because Christian McCaffrey is the number one back, and when he is, he can be on there every down, do it all. But all of a sudden, you've got the rest of the backfield banged up, unhealthy, question marks. And, Christian McCaffrey theoretically might be 100% healthy, but that went downhill south fast last year where, oh no, he's actually dealing with an injury, and oh no, he's seeing specialists in Germany, and oh no, he's out for a while. Who knows?
And as you said at the top, 6th-round pick, it's more than other teams are giving up. There's a lot of, right now, there's a lot of trades going on, 6s and 7s being swapped. And
it's not much, but it is a notable departure from let's swap 6th-round picks.
But at the same time, you're talking about Robinson, who's been a low-end starter. There's a reason why Washington was moving on from him.
Yeah.
And they didn't even have the best running game last year. I think from their perspective, they're really happy with Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, Bill Krosky-Merritt.
Bill Merritt.
Having Austin Eckler, having Chris Rodriguez there, maybe as the power back. So they do have some options there in Washington. And again, like I said, they soured a little bit on Robinson because he wasn't creating on his own. When you go back and you see the explosive runs that Robinson had last year, a lot of it was scheme-driven and space that was created because Cliff Kingsbury does a good job of that, and Jaden Daniels allows for a lot of space. So I think at the end of the day, that's what happened with Washington. This will be a different system where that space isn't created in the same way. But we know that Shanahan always does a good job of putting his running backs in position to succeed.
And this is not like a bolt from the blue in terms of anyone paying attention to the Washington backfield knows that they were souring on Robinson, that they were probably going to cut him anyway based off how this was all panning out. But it is the sort of reaffirmation that you can be excited about the prospects of Jacory/Bill Krosky-Merritt. Like, this is a real infatuation they've got with him. Obviously, Austin Eckler's still there. He's a very good player. You know, he's going to be featuring a lot in that backfield as well. But Krosky-Merritt could be a real force in that backfield this year.
So Commanders, I think they're feeling good about it from their perspective. Getting a 6th rounder for a guy that they were probably going to cut, even though they're paying a little bit of that salary, they're paying for the 6th rounder. And then from San Francisco, huge depth play here where Robinson can add something different and a little security for Christian McCaffrey. Coming at you live from Circa here. It's contest weekend. Get out here.
Thanks for watching all the way to the end of our video.
Check the Mic is live every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, so be sure to hit this subscribe button so you don't miss a thing.
The all-knowing algorithm is convinced that you'll like these videos as well, and frankly, who are we to argue?